Hello, and welcome to episode 2 of our All the Mods 10 playthrough. Hope your day's going well for you, as mine, well, it's going pretty swell. And without further ado, let's dive in to episode 2. So, as per the usual, I have done a little bit in between episodes here, and honestly, not that much. Most of it's been right here in this little circle of operation. So we'll go through that really quick. At the end of the last episode, we had 2 iron farms set up. I have since made 2 more thanks to our villager breeder. Essentially, the way that the villager breeder works from Easy Villagers. And if you're curious about any of this, you can just type in @easy, and it'll pull up all the available blocks for these guys here. Inventory viewer, I don't know what that's all about, but anyways, what we're doing is simply using the iron farm here. As I've mentioned before, while you can, I recommend make this. This is a super cheap recipe. Sure, it's not going to spawn iron golems every 0.2 seconds and have so much iron that you're just overflowing with it, as obviously I have actually kind of run out. I'm not completely out, but still, having 30 after having let this run for quite some time, well, it's a pretty big a testament to how many iron bars I've actually thrown into our toolsmith over here. So we're going to throw a couple more, just all that we have left here, to repair our pickaxe a little bit. And then basically all we've done is taken the villagers that we've gotten from the breeder, you put them into the incubator, you put in baby villagers up top, and then it'll output adult villagers, which you can use for trading, more breeders, more iron farms, basically whatever you need. So as soon as you have 2 villagers, make a breeder, throw them in there, and throw them some food. Now, I don't think watermelons work, which is a little sad because, as y'all know, that was kind of our crop of choice to start out with. But since then, we've been tilling our land back here, getting some potatoes, getting some wheat, and I even have some demon fruit, demon seeds, whatever it's called, back over there from occultism. So if we want to get into that, we can when available. Today, however, that's not going to be our focus. Our focus is going to be on something that I'll call a bit more immediately useful, because I'm not sure about occultism. I've never really dove into it, so I couldn't speak for how effective or how quickly its effectiveness truly is. Today, however, I want to get into 2 things. Well, I want to explain one thing and get into one thing. So there you go. Essentially, we're going to be going through how you can potentially 6x your ore processing. So you put in 1 bit of ore, such as, well, lapis isn't a great example. Copper, I feel like that's a bit cheaty. Do we have something that's more normal? Osmium? Sure, fuck it. We'll do osmium. So you can take a bit of regular ore here, you can put it in the chest, or you can put it in the macerator. It's going to break it down into raw osmium. As you can see here, you're going to get a 3-to-1 ratio, and that's for pretty much all ores. I will say with lapis on this, you get a ton of lapis. So if we go back through the process here. Oh shit, I did the one for mechanism. We need the modern industrialization. And here, so you see from 1 lapis block, you're actually getting 16 crushed dust, which then gives you the chance of getting 1 plus 50% chance of getting another one for every one that you crush. And of course, each one of these turns back into a lapis lazuli. So from 1 block, you can get, maximum 32 lapis if every single one gives you the plus 50, which obviously, the odds on that are pretty low. But it's still like, that's a lot of lapis, man. That's a lot of lapis for 1 block. And obviously you can get anywhere in between 16 and 32 from that. But yeah, it's certainly nothing to be sneezed at. So yeah, then you take your osmium, and what you'll want to do with the raw stuff is you basically just put it right back into the macerator, because it's going to give you dust, same as with the lapis lazuli. It's going to give you 1 guaranteed and then a 50% chance of another one. So this is why I say you have the potential to 6x your ore, because you put 1 in, you get 3 raw out, and then you get your osmium dust, which potentially, if you hit the 2 on every single one, you could end up with 6. We ended up with 5, and that's off of 1 ore block. So again, not a bad ore duping process for starting out here. Now, if you're asking, Chance, what do I actually need to get this setup going? All you need for the ore processing is this machine, this machine. You don't even really need the sink, but I do recommend it because it is so cheap. And then you're basically good to go. Now, for those of you that watched our last series, you know, we got very deep into modern industrialization. That's basically what the last pack was all about. Now, if you don't want to go rewatch that or go watch it for the first time, whatever, I understand that completely. So we're going to break this down as quickly and as simply as we can, because those of you that do know it, well, you already know what's going on here. Now, the way that modern industrialization works, at least in the beginning, is you use a lot of boilers, which produce steam, so hence the water. For those of you that don't know, the sink from cooking for blockheads has infinite water inside of it and can be pumped out. So it's kind of one of the it is the best source of water early on. And in order to get a sink, all you need is some terracotta, a bucket of water, and some iron. Now, the terracotta may be daunting to some, but don't forget that you can just melt clay down and that'll give you terracotta. So as long as you're nearby some kind of river or source of clay, well, you're good to go. So that's the sink, infinite water. We have the fluid pipes from modern industrialization. They're right here. And again, if you've not jumped into modern industrialization before, this may seem a little daunting, but once we go through the process, you'll realize it's just a couple steps that you got to do, really. So the water's being pumped in. The bronze boiler does take combustible fuel, so wood, charcoal, coal, that kind of stuff. I choose to typically go for charcoal because obviously it's the easiest to sort of produce and produce the most amount of heat, yada, yada, yada. So what will essentially end up happening is the charcoal gets burned. This temperature gauge will rise. Don't worry, if it hits maximum, it's not going to explode or anything like some other mods do. And then it's going to start producing steam once it hits boiling point, which, I mean, obviously boiling point somewhere down here. If the temperature is at 1500 Celsius, that's way beyond boiling. So you're going to be producing steam ad nauseum, essentially. And you can see through the pipes, if you look at them up there, it says network transfer 2 millibuckets. So obviously we're not really losing too much steam at once. And that means that this machine is only using 2 millibuckets in order to carry out its process here. So that's pretty good. We have 3 machines hooked up. We can use all 3 at the same time and still not really worry about our steam output, because if we take a look at the bronze boiler, it will indeed tell you that it's going to make 8 EU worth of steam per tick. And we're only using 2 millibuckets, so I think we're good to go. we should have a lot left over from that. Now, one other thing is you'll notice that this does say AEU. EU is a different measurement of power, and it is one specifically for modern industrialization, or at least I've only ever seen it in modern industrialization. Perhaps it's in another one as well. But the point behind it is, the point that I'm trying to make behind it is the fact that EU is actually 4 times as much FE power. So if this produces AEU per tick, it has the potential to make 32 FE per tick. Does that make sense? Hopefully. So it's not a bad power outage or output whenever you look at it like that. I know you may be looking at some of the numbers on modern industrialization and being like, that's kind of low, and it seems rather complicated to get into something that does so horribly. But in all reality, this is going to be one of your best mods to start you out as far as ore duplication, and as far as mixing ores together in order to get things such as bronze. Now, you can make bronze just by combining dust of copper and tin. You can get these dusts by simply using the hammer from the first episode and then the raw stuff or an ingot. Either which way will work. And then, of course, once you have the bronze dust, you can just throw it into a smelter and get yourself the bronze ingot. This is what's going to start you on down your way for industrial craft, modern industrialization, and essentially get you into your bronze boiler and your macerator, which are going to be your two big ones here. So let's go ahead and save those. Now, if we take a look at the macerator, it does require 2 diamonds. We did end up finding diamonds in between episodes. We'll go down and check out the mine shaft because I've done quite a bit of digging. But again, with a mod pack like this where you have vein mining, and it's vein mining where you can just drill through cobblestone at an exceptional rate, and since you have an iron farm already set up, right? you're going to have enough iron to take down basically a stack with you. You know, just take down however much iron you got, and then just keep making pickaxes and drilling through and making pickaxes and drilling through. Another little tool I can't recommend enough is going to be the pocket storage unit. So we have tier 1 over here. You can see it's really not a complicated recipe. Don't be thrown off by the ender chest in the middle. The little asterisk here, or the little star, means that it accepts anything of that same tag. So you'll see as I hover over this, it says chests. So we can use chest, trap chest, ender chest, or a frame chest in order to make this recipe work. So again, don't be dismayed or disgruntled by the fact that you see an ender chest there. It doesn't actually require an ender chest, though it will accept one if you try to put it in for this recipe. So yeah, from then you just need iron, which you should already have, redstone. I mean, you just got to dig a bit for it. 2 pistons and a chest. What this tier 1 is going to do, we do have tier 2, but what tier 1 is going to do is hold up to 8 different items and up to 255 of each. It's going to automatically absorb like items, meaning if you're down in your mine shaft and you're mining a whole bunch of cobblestone, it's going to go into this little pocket storage unit, and whenever it hits 255, it says on pickup voids excess. So it's going to start deleting all the extra cobblestone, and what that's going to do is make sure you're not clearing, or rather clogging up your inventory as you go mining, right? And then if you want to keep the blocks, you know, you just right click and pull a stack out. And then whenever you get back to your base, you can just throw it in. You can also, if you hold shift, you can sneak right click on a chest to deposit the contents, which I'm not going to do because we have way too many right now. Or you can sneak left click to withdraw all the matching contents, which, I mean, honestly, we may end up doing because our tier 2 one can hold up to 4,095 blocks of each different item, right? So I could have 4,000 deep slate in here, 4,000 cobblestone, 4,000 andesite, 4,000 dirt, and so on and so forth for 16 different blocks. So it is, I mean, it's like carrying around a whole bunch of drawers on you. Does that make sense? Because each drawer from sophisticated storage, I believe that's in here, right? At storage, functional storage, not sophisticated, sorry. Each drawer from this can hold, what, 8,000 items? This can hold 4,000 items, so it's like half of a sophisticated drawer. Or maybe they can only hold 2,000. Maybe I'm getting confused here. Let's see. I do have one. Yeah, it can only hold 2,000. So, I mean, your pocket storage unit, once you hit tier 2 and it can hold 4,000 items, it's already better than all of your functional storage drawers, and it's mobile. You can carry it around with you. So it's like having 16 upgraded storage drawers in your back pocket. And of course, once you upgrade it again to diamond, then you can hold 32 items and you can hold 65,000 of each, which means you're never going to need to store cobblestone anywhere else in your base rather than just on your body up until you get to AE2 and infinite cobblestone and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, really, really useful device and really useful for storing stuff. Like I've not, but I will more than likely when I move up to diamond. I'm going to go ahead and throw, you know, oak logs in here, and probably even jungle logs, because we clear a lot of those out, and we'll throw in basically everything, because why not? You know, if the machine can hold it and it's going to save me on storage here, which obviously is something that we're kind of getting a little backed up on just with everything. Part of the reason is because we don't have just a basic raw large chest mod in here. If you search for chest, you'll see we don't have any iron chests or anything like that. We don't have sophisticated storage. So, you know, things are going to back up. On that note, we also don't have a backpack. There's no backpack or satchel, or at least one that I found in the mod so far. There's this satchel from Occultism, surprisingly sustainable satchel, but I'm not sure if it's an actual satchel or not. So if it is, somebody please let me know, and then maybe we'll craft this and have a little backpack. And if not, I mean, that's fine. I'm pretty sure there's pouches in base Minecraft or sacks or something like that. So point being, if we really wanted some way to carry around some extra items, we could probably find it or figure it out, but I've yet to put that much effort into it. So back to modern industrialization, we have the bronze boiler, we have the bronze macerator. They take, you know, some rather interesting things here. One nice thing that I will say is different from our last mod pack is the fact that gears are really easy to make now. You can either throw in 4 ingots and 1 iron nugget to make your gears, Or if you're just hell-bent on torturing yourself, you can throw in 4 plates of the desired item, 4 copper bolts, and 1 copper ring. Now, obviously, you and I both probably have a preference on which one we're going to use, and that's right, it's going to be the simple one that only uses 4 ingots plus an iron nugget. So this recipe, really not that bad. You're going to get these plates, and I mean, bronze gear, same thing, 4 bronze ingots, 1 bronze or 1 iron nugget, and you're good to go. Bronze plates, one thing I do want to explain to y'all is while you're clicking through and you're gonna be like, oh, okay, so that's how I get bronze plates, a 2-to-1 ratio. Sure, I mean, you can do it that way if you really want to, again, torture yourself. However, we're going to do it using modern industrialization forge hammer. Now, it's not very expensive to make. Go ahead and pull up the recipe for it right here. It's 3 heavyweight pressure plates and 4 iron ingots, and these are just made from 2, so you use basically 6 up top, 4 down below. It's 10 iron to make you this thing. It doesn't break. It's here infinitely, and what it allows you to do is make all these extra pieces from modern industrialization that would otherwise be you know, a little complicated to figure out and yada yada yada. So what you're going to want to actually do is put in your ingots here, and for the large majority you're going to want to just go ahead and double them up. Now, the reason for this is in order to really get effectiveness out of this, and you'll notice as I've doubled it, so have the outputs over here. So we can now make 2 bronze rings for having this bronze double ingot. Now we can only make 1. So you can also get your dust just by doing this if you wanted to, right? And it doesn't cost anything. You just get your dust right out. You don't have to put it through a macerator, yada, yada, yada. But this is only for ingots. You can't put in an ore block and be like, okay, well, give me all my dust. Anyways, so you'll notice here we have 2 bronze rods for 1 bronze double ingot. That's cool. But what you can do is take a hammer from modern industrialization, which they are very costly in this pack. We'll say that because it takes 5 large plates, and those take 4 small plates or basic plates, whatever you want to call them. Now, obviously, since each plate is 1 ingot, right? That's all you really need in order to make this. Then it's not, the math on it isn't too bad. You just need 20 ingots to make a hammer. And again, you already have infinite iron from having your setup, so it's not that horrible. But essentially, yeah, you see that we've doubled our output on all this stuff, and that's what the hammer is good for. So now instead of getting, I'm sorry, took the wrong thing out there. Now instead of getting 1 plate from 2 ingots, because that's what a double ingot does, essentially, is count as 2 ingots. And I'll explain its usefulness here in just a second. But now instead of getting 1 plate from 2, we're going to get 1 plate from each. So it's a 1-to-1 conversion on your plates, which again is pretty huge. I don't have to tell you that you're halving your cost, right? Now, the way that the double ingots come into play is the fact that every time you do a process in the forge hammer, it's going to take some durability off your iron hammer. And not even just a little bit. No, it's going to take a lot of it. So you'll notice here the durability costs in order to get a bronze plate from 1 double ingot to get you 2 bronze is 20 durability cost. Okay. Well, it's also 20 durability cost if you just work on 1 ingot, right? And now you can also not use a hammer, but then you're going to be putting in 2 bronze to get out 1 plate. So the maximum efficiency way of doing this is by making yourselves the hammer and then doubling up your ingots, so that way you use the least amount of durability off your hammer and you're getting the most output. So hope that makes sense. I don't really need that stuff right now, so I'm just gonna throw it back over here. It's raining, which is really annoying. I wonder if I can turn down the sound. Is that ambient environment or weather? It's probably weather, Chance. Probably weather if I had to guess. But yeah, we just don't need that rain being so loud. It's still kind of loud though, huh? Going down to like 20. Any hoosers. So yeah, that's how we did our processing of materials to get ourselves the bronze casing. You just need bronze gears, bronze plates, and then you're good to go. bronze boiler. It may seem a little more complicated, but I promise it's just as simple. So 4 bronze plates here. You're going to need another 4 in here and a piece of glass. And this is going to give you a bronze sink, which can actually hold fluids if you're looking for a tank. I don't recommend it because there's much cheaper tanks and mechanism that just require 4 redstone and 4 iron. Again, you have infinite iron. Redstone going to be pretty abundant once you really get into mining. So there's that for you. And then it just requires a furnace and these things down here called fire clay bricks. Now, this process to get fire clay bricks is a little unnecessarily long, I'll admit, or I'll give my opinion on, but it's really not that bad. So you get your fire clay bricks from fire clay dust, and you can get fire clay dust from combining a clay ball and brick dust. Now you can get brick dust in 2 different forms. You can either take bricks and throw it into a macerator. However, if you don't have the bronze boiler yet, you can't really power your macerator. So you're saying, well, chance that doesn't make sense. What you can also do is you can take your brick over into your forge hammer and you can get some brick dust. Now, if you don't like that idea, you can also just take brick and throw it in and get 3 tiny brick dust out and not use any hammer durability. Now, obviously, you're getting 3 here instead of the usual 9, but it does save you on hammer durability. So if you're like, well, I don't really have the iron to be blowing on my hammer durability, just go get a lot of bricks because clay, again, if you're near a river, should be fairly abundant. Toss those bad boys in and take a 1/3 return, but know that you're saving your durability and saving your iron by using clay instead, essentially. So yeah, you're gonna grab clay, smelt it into a brick, smash that brick down, combine it back with clay in order to get yourself the fire clay dust. And then, of course, you smelt the fire clay dust into a brick, combine it together to get your bricks, and then there you are. You're right back to your bronze boiler. And then again, it just takes some water, a combustible, and you're off to the races making steam. Now, the other machines over here, so we have the macerator. This is good for, as I've said, ore duplication. We also have a compressor. Now, you'll need the compressor if you want to do ore duplication for lapis lazuli. I believe it's coal. Maybe that's it. Because essentially what it's going to do is it's going to take the dust of lapis and it's going to form it into the actual lapis lazuli that you're looking for. And of course, the dust is going to be the byproduct of the ore. So if you throw your lapis in, just be prepared to need a compressor to get what you're looking for back out. And again, same thing for coal here. You'll get coal dust from the macerator for mining it down, right? And so you just have to throw it back to the compressor in order to get yourself back to coal. The mixer is really just a matter of preference and quality of life. So right now, the recipes are a little buggy. I'll be the first to admit it. If you look at this recipe, it says that we can use any tin dust, but we have to use the copper dust from all the ores. Now that's a problem because whenever you smash stuff down, whenever you smash stuff down this way, it's going to give you that cool. However, if I was to smash it down in my macerator and be like, oh, let me just, this is a bad example. Oh, fuck it. We'll throw in a whole ore block. Let me just smash it down in my macerator and see, let me do it that way. So it's more efficient and I get more stuff out of it. Well, the problem with that is that this is going to give you modern industrialization copper dust, which is not going to be able to be mixed with any tin in order to give you bronze. So if we take a look here, throw up the tin dust, we throw up the copper dust. Oh, what? Well, now I just look like a fool. Maybe this happened in an update. I will say 2 updates came out in between me starting to record for this episode and having played off camera. So maybe they fixed it. But previously, and this is why I got the mixer, this didn't work because again, whenever you take a look at the bronze recipe, this isn't start out. It's not tagged to have any kind of copper dust. So it wasn't accepting any copper. I'll retract my statement now and say, hey, you don't need that fucking mixer. You can just mix it in your inventory. But that's, whatever. We got one. Mixers can be used for other things as well. surely, right? I don't know what all the recipes are for them in this specific mod pack, but I'm sure they'll be useful elsewhere. One other update we've done is by making ourselves an emerald furnace. This is not very expensive. Again, once you get things rocking and rolling with your villagers, and once you get things rocking and rolling with your ore duplication. So diamonds, you can duplicate diamonds, or I keep calling it duplication, but you guys should know what I mean. You're processing it, right? You're smashing it down. So same thing with diamonds. You can smash it down, and you'll need a compressor for diamonds as well. It's kind of in the same category as coal and lapis, which makes sense. It's kind of like the gems, you know what I mean? If that makes sense. So you put it in, you're going to get 3 back out. You can put that back in. Again, you have the potential to get 6 out of 1 block, which is pretty insane, given in most diamond veins you can find about 3. So if you were to get the absolute best outcome of this, you could go down, find 1 vein of diamonds, come back with 18 diamonds, which is like, yeah, I mean, I'll take that. Anyways, you take your diamonds, you're going to throw them. Oh, I'm sorry. You don't need a compressor for this. You're going to need an enrichment chamber from Mechanism, which we do have. And again, it's not... Sorry, those iron golems, they're something else. That's kind of going to bring us into this little section over here, which is mechanisms and how you can... Whoa, fuck me. Buddy, ain't you ever heard of, like, not sneaking up on people? I know you're a creep, but I promise you don't have to live life this way. I didn't even see him on my mini-map. I'll close that door back. But yeah, so jumping into the enrichment chamber as it is... Oh no. Oh no, I've lost my way. We just pulled diamonds up here. I thought diamond would be in the recipe for that. So yes, put in the diamond dust, you get out a diamond, and it's just a matter of getting in, just dipping your toe ever so slightly into mechanism. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to have some power from this thing. You can, of course, use your steam power to put it into like a little LV, what's this thing called? LV steam turbine, and that can produce you some energy per tick. I don't recommend this because it's going to take a lot of steam to really keep this turbine going. Namely, it's going to take you 4 bronze boilers to keep this thing constantly going. So really not efficient, especially when compared to the heat generator from Mechanism. Now, the heat generator is really simple to make. It's going to require copper, 1 osmium, 3 iron, 2 wood planks, and a furnace. So really basic here. What it's going to do is provide you with around 30 Fe per tick. I think somewhere around 30. Of course, I'm missing a side now, so maybe it's not the same. Anyways, you're going to place this block down, and honestly, we made it go craft another one just so y'all can see it from all sides. They're pretty inexpensive, and I wouldn't mind having another one set up, you know what I mean? So let's get some osmium. What did I say? Some redstone. We have some wood. We're going to need a furnace, which I can grab a stack of this out. We're going to need some iron. Now, I didn't keep the iron in here. Like I said, I was going to keep 1 barrel essentially that just left all the iron in it, but I've been using too much iron, so instead I left all the poppies. Now you get 1 poppy for each iron golem that's slain. We have a stack plus 49, so that means 64 plus 50, 114 golems have been processed since the last episode. Or actually that tells me there 113. I was off by 1, so sue me. So yeah, I mean, it's not a bad little setup there. So the heat generator, oh, we need copper. I think just 2, right? The heat generator is going to look like this. Oops. Now, when you place it down, you're going to have this green spot on the back. That's going to be pretty important. I don't know if you can move that spot. I don't believe so. Oh, that just picks it up, huh? Do have several different wrenches here, so they kind of... Well, I guess they all do the same thing. So no, you can't move where the hole is on this. On modern industrialization machines, if you shift right click on them, you see you can get this little output. So if I wanted to, I could have these things sort of pump automatically into one another, Obviously, I don't want that, but you can if you want to avoid having to use pipes. For the heat generator, this is where you're going to be pulling your power from. So I keep hitting B to try and open my backpack because I'm used to playing the other pack. And yeah, no, that's just how you create a waypoint. So here we go. We do have some energy pipes. I built these and I built the mechanism ones because I didn't think that these energy pipes worked at first, because if you put them on any side, you'll be like, well, it's not connecting. But if you try to do the same thing with mechanism, it's also not going to connect. So what's happening here? Well, essentially, this is the only place that power can be drawn from. So if I place this down, you'll notice that it is going to connect. And then I can use my wrench to tell it to start pulling power. So that's cool. Mechanism, same thing. It's going to work on there. You can... I don't have the mechanism wrench on me. Can I do? No, it's not going to work. Well, just make sure you have the mechanism wrench if you're going to go the mechanism route. I tend to go for pipes just because, I mean, sure, they get laggy if you use a ton of them, but don't be using fucking 3 million then, you know? Eventually, you should start using ender chest, which, you know, I'm not going to lie, it's not something I've really checked to see if we have available in this pack. We don't. We actually don't have ender chest, which isn't the worst thing in the world because we do have the dimensional chest, and it's not a bad recipe here. So you just need iron ingots and a diamond, some redstone to get your dimensional core, which, like I said, I mean, that's not that expensive. You'll of course need 2 of these for whatever you want to do, plus the dimensional wall. You can get this from using ender pearl. Don't worry though, because you can buy ender pearls off villagers. So once you get your villager trades really rocking and rolling, it's going to be a piece of cake to have ender pearls stacked up. So just make sure whenever you get your villagers, you start breeding them, you start working with them, because I mean, just like in vanilla Minecraft, villagers are really powerful. There's not much you can do about that. If you take away their effectiveness, they become useless. And if you don't give them enough effectiveness, or if you give them too much, then they're broken. And there's never going to be a seriously happy medium on it, but we can relish in the fact that villagers are here to help, as long as you give them emeralds and you stuff them in a tiny box. Anywho, so I'm not going to worry about throwing this heat generator up here right now, simply because we don't need that excess power. Like, this thing's using 20 FE per tick. This thing is producing 20 FE per tick. So we just don't need it. We'll save it for a rainy day. Now, the way that the heat generator works is one of 2 ways. So if you'll read here, a generator that uses the heat of lava or other burnable resources to produce energy. So what you can do is you can either, let me climb up here a bit. You can either put lava on top of the block, as I've done here, and then you'll have it sort of running off and down the sides, which it doesn't matter if it's a source block or if it's flowing lava, as long as there's lava on a side of the block, it's going to produce energy. And the more sides of the block that have lava, the more energy is going to produce. So right here we have a temperature of 534,000, which I don't know. I guess that's Kelvin, huh? It's not K, it's Kelvin. So 534 Kelvin, which is a lot, I suppose. And then we're turning that into power. So we have lava on 1, 2, 3, 4 sides over there. Maybe you could have it on the bottom too, but I'm just not going to mess with that. We're producing enough power to get us through here. So if you want to do a similar setup, again, I have this block above it, so whenever I go to place the lava, I can just aim it at this and place it, because for some reason you can also place lava inside of that machine, like literally inside of it, kind of the same way you would place water in a slab, right? So you're gonna need the enrichment chamber, long story short, to get your diamonds back from your diamond dust. But again, it's going to be certainly worth it, given you are, you know, potentially getting 6 diamonds from 1 diamond ore. So definitely worth it to go into this. And the only reason you really need to go and get your metallurgic infuser, well, I think it's twofold. It's going to give you steel really easy, which is nice for further progression through the pack and all of that. But it's also going to give you the inner components of what you actually need for this enrichment chamber, that being the basic control circuits. So you put in some redstone, put in an osmium ingot, and then you get yourself a basic control circuit. The way this works is it's going to be a 2-to-1 ratio on 2 redstone dust needing to go in, 1 osmium ingot, and then it'll give you 1 basic control circuit. And then of course you take that math and you do whatever you want to with it. I'm gonna wait for this last one. There we go. I guess it's not the last one, but it's the last one that I'm waiting on, that's for sure. Then we're gonna go throw it into the emerald furnace and see just how quickly this bad boy works. So I believe the emerald furnace has a cook time of 40 ticks, which is about 2 seconds. Yeah, so 40 cook time. And technically you could half this down into being just 1 second if you were to if you were to insert the augment speed from iron furnaces. So it does have the cooking time for all recipes, but it uses up to twice the amount of fuel. So if you can't get all the way down to an emerald furnace, but you really still want that super low cook time, you can get up to a gold furnace and then half its cook time using up twice the amount of fuel. Of course, you're going to be using charcoal, so that is still a positive loop for you to put in 1 piece of wood or 8 pieces of wood for 1 piece of charcoal, and then you get 8 charcoal back, right? The reason I'm not using it is my cook time's already at 2 seconds. I don't really care to make it 1 second just for the sake of burning up twice the amount of fuel. So hope you can all understand and side with me on that one. Now that we've gotten that long-winded sort of intro, where we are, where we've been, what we're doing kind of thing out of the way, we'll go down into the mine shafts at the end of the video so you can really see and get a good gauge on how much we've truly mined. Now, I keep talking about taking the ore block and processing that, right? I keep talking about getting, you know, like the raw iron ore or the raw gold ore. But you can't do that unless you have Silk Touch. And that is where our new tool, the steam mining drill, actually comes into play. Probably should have introduced this first, as everything else would have made a lot more sense. But essentially what you're going to do is you're going to make this thing, and it comes pre-equipped with Silk Touch. Really awesome. In order to run this thing, all you need is water and some kind of burnable fuel inside of it. So again, you can take some charcoal, right-click it while you're hovering over the drill, and it's going to insert it in. Now, the way you put water in it is by simply taking either a running water source, so you can do something like this, and right-clicking, or by taking the source block. I always take the running water just because I'm like, well, I don't know if it's going to take my source block or not. It may not, but, well, it's certainly not going to do it for me. And then you'll see here, water is back up to 100%. It does have Silk Touch, and if you hover over it and hold down Shift, you can actually read all about it. So right-click, still or flowing water to fill it. Did that. Number 2, place fuel inside the drill. Right-click. We did that. Step 3, enjoy 3x3 Silk Touch. Step 4, you can toggle Silk Touch by Shift right-clicking. So if I hold down Shift right-click, now it's disabled, enabled, disabled, enabled, yada, yada, yada. And this is going to mine like a classic drill in a 3x3x1 section. So it's a pretty good drill, and if you don't want to use diamond pickaxes or iron pickaxes to continuously beat down a wall, of course, use your drill. It'll work perfectly fine. I prefer to save my fuel on the drill because I'm not necessarily out there chopping down a million trees a day. I just kind of chop as I need and, you know, go with the flow of things. But yeah, that being said, the steam mining drill, really simple recipe here. You're going to need 2 furnaces, a bucket, 3 diamonds, all of these things fairly simple. 2 iron large plates, which is essentially 8 iron, right? Because 1 plate is one piece of iron, so to speak. And then you're going to need the copper drill head, which is probably the most complicated and may look kind of daunting, but again, you just save this recipe over here on the right, and you can always come back and reference it. So the copper gears, no problem, we got that. Copper plate, we got that. These little copper bolts, we've already seen how to make that in the forge hammer. Copper rod is made in the forge hammer, and even the copper curved plates can be made in the forge hammer. So essentially, you're just going to make a copper drill head, then you're going to want to combine that all together and give yourself the steam mining drill. And again, the primary purpose of this is for the easy, early Silk Touch. And so that's where we're at now. That's why we have the equipment we have. That's why I'm using what I'm using. And as you'll see moving forward, how I've been able to get so many resources from so little, essentially. So let's just finish smelting that all down, finish breaking it down, whatever you want to call it. Now, I thought I had, I have some gold here, some gold there. Some gold everywhere. My purpose for today, what I want to get into in the second part, now that we've explained how we're potentially getting 6x or on return there, I want to dive into how we can actually get some easy infinite materials relatively early. And that's going to be using the steam quarry from modern industrialization. Now, this is a multi-block structure, so we're going to need a lot of steel for this, okay? But remember that you can get steel by simply combining... What in the hell is this? So, I mean, I guess you could do this method. That's going to take a really long time and a whole lot of hammer durability, so I don't recommend that. Instead, what I recommend in order to create you steel is by going through the mechanism route. So you're going to put carbon into the metallurgic infuser. Again, this can be charcoal if you want. This can be regular coal. This can be the lignite coal, which you'll discover as you're mining. It's just literally bar for bar exactly the same as coal, at least as far as I've seen. So you have this lignite, I think. I don't know. But it does everything that coal does. You can use it in dielectric paste. You can use it in spirit torches. There's obviously some things that coal does that this does not. So I do still recommend using, you know, coal on the things that coal is needed to be used on. But yeah, we can go throw this over here in the side compartment and it'll work just the same as far as filling up our carbon meter here. I thought. Did it not say it could go into carbon? Oh, you can turn it into enriched carbon, which can then go in. Okay, well, you know what? Fuck it. Yeah, turn it into enriched carbon. What have I got to lose? Anyhoosers, so yeah, basically you throw in, I didn't really go through this process very well. I got distracted with the coal. You throw in a piece of iron. Now it's going to process down, and you can of course speed this up with speed upgrades at your own discretion. I don't have any speed upgrades currently in here, so what you're seeing is raw, what you're getting. So you put a piece of iron in, you're going to get a piece of enriched iron out. Again, make sure you have carbon here via charcoal or regular coal or whatever. Then you're going to put the enriched iron right back in. And once it gets finished, so how much? I guess it doesn't really tell you. Oh, it's 80 millibuckets for each one of these. That's not bad. Anyways, then it's going to turn that enriched iron down into steel dust, which of course you can then go smelt into actual steel, which you can use for your steam quarry and all of that, this and the other. So let's go ahead and take a snooze here since it is nighttime and we're not necessarily mob proofed up quite yet. Okay. And now, ladies and gentlefish, let's take a look at everything here that we have sort of left over. I do want to read the dictionary of occultism just to see what all's with it. Same thing with the Hermetica for alchemy and all that kind of stuff, just so I can see, you know, what is it actually used for? What's the dealio, Cornelio? I also really want to get into aquaculture too, because it's just not a mod that I've ever actually spent a fair amount of time or really any amount of time playing around with. So, and we are up to 46 steel ingots already. That's, I mean, it's really good. I don't know that it'll be enough to fully do what we want to do, but that being said, we are going to attempt to build this steam quarry. So we'll need 4 steel large plates and a steel machine casing just to get it started. Each large plate takes 4, so that's going to be 16 steel that we'll need there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 16. And then we'll need a steel machine casing, 4 for the gear and 8 for the plates, so another 12, I think. 1, 2, 3. And then 2 more gears, so 4 more plus 2 is 8. So I need 8 more gears. And that should be it. 36 steel should go into this. Then we're gonna need item pipes, which I've already made the item pipes, but you'll need to make this, which take 2 more steel gears. So you're gonna need 8 more steel ingots. So all together, in order to get yourself into the steam quarry, you're looking at about 44 steel. Like I said, rather expensive. We do already have the item pipes, so I'm not too concerned about all that, but we will need to get everything else in here rocking and rolling. So let's think about, figure out how, when, and where we want to do this. So how many gears do we need? How many steel gears do we need? I need 1, 2, 3, and we don't need those. So just 3 steel gears, right? So let's go ahead and get 3 steel gears. I'm doing it wrong. I'm silly. Oh, fuck. There's 4. Whatever. We'll need more steel gears in the future, you'll see, but for now that's fine. Then we need 8 steel plates, and how we can do that is by using our forge hammer. We'll come over here, we'll take 8, we'll double them up, throw those bad boys back in, throw our hammer in, and there we go. Bingo bongo bango. 8 plates, fairly simply, fairly cheap. Throw 1 gear in, surround that bad boy with plates, and there's our steel machine casing. Now, what else do I need for this thing? I should probably do this. Not enough ingredients to craft, right? Because we need the Invar rotary blade and we need the large steel plates. So Invar rotary blade is going to be made using diamond dust and Invar. Invar, of course, for those of you that have played any sort of modded Minecraft, is simply made by combining nickel and iron, which I'm sure you could also make in your crafting inventory. Maybe it's just a different version. So all the NBT data, or all the like tag data for all this stuff, isn't necessarily the best. So yeah, you can make it in your inventory as well. Oh, sorry. Big yawns. So in order to make this rotary, we're going to need an Invar gear, which of course is the same as all the other gears, just like so. Combine that with some diamond dust, and that's that, ladies and gents. Then last but not least, we need, what did I say, 16 iron plates. So we'll go and do that, and that. And I believe that's it. There we go, ladies and gents. Our first steam quarry. Now, don't think that it's just so easy as going and placing this thing down and hooking it up and you're good to go. No, this is actually going to be a multi-block structure. So we're also going to need 4 chains. We're going to need 16 more steel machine casings, 6 steel pipe machine casings, and the 4 chains that I've already aforementioned. That's not too shabby though, once you get into what this thing actually gives you. So if we take a look at the steam quarry, you're going to notice that we can put in a bronze drill with a 4% chance at consumption, and it's going to give us iron ore, it's going to give us coal ore, it's going to give us lignite coal, it's going to give us copper, tin, gold, redstone, and osmium. The main thing here that you really want is going to be the iron and the coal, as that's going to allow you to produce more and more and more steel, and essentially get the ball rolling a bit more there. It's also going to give you tin and copper, which you can need to make bronze, so it's going to allow you to continuously make these bronze drills again, over and over and over again. So all that being said, I really need to clear up this little patch of dirt out here. It's really getting on my nerves. It's from where I did the obsidian, right? Just came out, mined down a little bit, put some water on top, and broke that shit. Which your steam mining drill can also break obsidian and basically anything that a diamond can, so you're good there. If you're wondering, you know, can this thing actually process what I need it to, or mine what I need it to, rather, the answer is yes. So like I said, we're gonna need a whole lot more steel. Ooh, sorry, I've got the yawns. Which means we're gonna need to go throw a whole lot more iron into our metallurgic infuser. This thing's all filled up on carbon, so that's a good sign. And how many steel ingots do we have left after everything that just went down there? None. I have the 6 that are in my inventory. Well, not fantastic, but it's okay. We'll get there nonetheless. Let's throw everything that we can throw back where it needs to be thrown, right? All right, so with that out of the way, we are going to be looking at diving into the steam quarry here. And I may just expedite the process of waiting on all that iron to be turned into coal or steel. I don't think we really want to turn iron into coal. And then we may be back when we're going to actually set up the steam quarry and, of course, finish this bad boy out. Now, if we want to do, 34 enriched carbon, don't mind if I do. Now, if we want to figure out how many we truly need for this steel machine casing, one thing that's really easy to do is we can hit view recipe tree. This is one of the nice things with EMI. And what did it say? We needed 16. So let's scroll on up. I'm just using the scroll wheel here. So let's scroll on up, and then we can see that we need 16 steel gears and 128 steel plates. So that's going to be at least 2 stacks of steel for this and another stack of steel for this. So we're going to need 3 stacks of steel altogether, or 3 stacks of iron going into this process in order to get us rocking and rolling, right? Which again seems like a lot, but promise you, when you get that steam quarry up and running and you have infinite iron being pumped out and infinite coal and redstone and gold and copper and all this other stuff infinitely being produced, you're going to be like, wow, I am really happy I made this thing. I'm really happy that, and especially for how much fuel it actually costs. So I'm going to gather up 3 stacks of iron, and then we're going to jump back into this. One other thing real quick, just so you know this, you can hit view. Then it's going to pop you out over here. And as you get more stuff in your inventory, it's going to fill this up. And you say, well, Chance, this is taking off steel plates and steel gears. So like I have to process it, then put it in my inventory just to see how much I need. Well, the answer is no. If you want to, you can come in here to steel plate. Steel plate. That's not the one I want, though. That's not the recipe I want. Steel plate, steel plate. And you can do this. So say this is the recipe that I'm currently using, right? This is the one that I'm doing, even though we're going to end up using the compressor, because the compressor does this without taking away the durability of our hammer, and that's primarily what I want to use it for. So let's say this is the recipe that we want for steel plates. We're going to take a steel ingot, put it into the compressor, and get a steel plate. Set that as the default recipe. When you come back into here and you view the recipe tree, now that you, well, I guess this isn't going to work for this because they have it set to that steel plate instead of the other one, right? And you can't, it's not like you can change it over. Man, that's kind of a pain. I ain't gonna lie, that's kind of a pain. But if I favorite this, okay, so now you can kind of see how it's supposed to work once the NBT stuff gets all settled. And if I really wanted to, I could favorite this one as well, and it's going to tell you you need 8 hammers, which obviously you know you won't. You just need the 1 hammer plus 16 steel. But I'm not going to favor that one because I don't want that recipe saved. But yeah, it'll break it down for you. So now if I come back out here and I say I want this and I want to figure out how much I need for it, it's going to give us, you know, basically what all we need in order to produce that. All right, so with all that out of the way, again, we're going to gather up the several stacks of steel that we need in order to complete this steam quarry, which is just going to honestly take time. It's not going to take effort because we have iron coming out of here that we can just literally go immediately throw into there and make ourselves steel. So I'm going to wait for all of that to essentially process out, and then we'll be back in order to build the steam quarry. And so I can show you really how you're going to be getting infinite resources, because you're going to be getting all of those ores, right? If you'll notice, the steam quarry puts out the ore blocks. So of course you can then take this and go 6x your, potentially 6x your outcome by running it through a macerator and all of that good stuff. One other nice thing, and I haven't mentioned this beforehand, but I will go ahead and mention it now before we do our little jump cut here. The steam quarry, you'll see here, it only needs 4 EU per tick of steam to operate. Now, it's going to run every 30 seconds, and it's going to produce, you know, various amounts of ores for you. But 4 EU per tick, I mean, heck, this thing produces 8. So it only takes half of a bronze boiler in order to get your steam quarry running fully. So we can use this bronze boiler, power all of these machines, plus our steam quarry off the one single device, which is, I mean, it's pretty good, right? You don't have to really dive into you don't have to make 20 boilers to get this thing going. Just make the one and you'll be pretty much good to go for everything that you could possibly want. with that being said, we're going to finish this up and I'll see you in just a second. Alrighty, so all the steel has been processed down, and yeah, you're going to end up needing a little bit more than what I initially configured up there, because you're also going to need 6 of these steel pipe machine casings right here, which will require, you know, 1 or 2, so you'll need 3 additional steel machine casings. Plus, you'll need 6 steel curved plates, which each one of these is a 1-to-1 conversion, so 1 steel ingot to 1 steel curved plate. So you'll need another 18 over here. So whatever 3, what is this? Each one of these takes 12, so 36 plus 18. You'll need an additional 54 steel ingots, which is certainly nothing to sneeze at. But we have kind of upgraded our little setup back here just because it was taking so long. So essentially what we have going on now back here is we do have our 2 base generators, which are still generating 20 FE per tick. However, I wanted to throw some upgrades in these things, some speed upgrades to make him a little bit faster. But as you'll notice, well, maybe I'll throw it in this. As you'll notice, I don't need that much more. It's going to take more FE. So now it's taking 63, and there's no way that these 2 up top are going to keep up with that. So I went and made ourselves an emerald generator here. Now the emerald generator can produce FE at a rate of 256 per tick. You will need the mechanism basic universal cable to pull energy from this. I tried the pipes mod, right? And it was not pulling energy out of it. I don't know what's up with it. But for some reason, yeah, the pipes mod was not working with the emerald generator. So if anyone knows a solution to that, maybe I was plugging it into the wrong side, but I don't think so. Let me know. So I just used the universal basic cables that we had crafted from earlier. And it's working wonders. You know, this is generating 256, which is way more than 63 plus 63. So we're good to go on that front. And yeah, basically just been throwing 1 source of iron over here to get the enriched iron, and then I throw it back over here to get it into steel. So if you really want to quicken this process, I do recommend using 2 metallurgic infusers. And if you really, really want to speed this process up, you can make these speed upgrades, which are really cheap to make. 1 osmium dust, 2 pieces of glass, and an infused alloy, which just takes 1 iron ingot and 1 redstone in a metallurgic infuser to create. Hence why we have a 3rd one over here, which is completely empty because we were just using it for making upgrades. So yeah, we pretty much have everything that we need now. There are a couple pieces that I have kind of left out as far as mentioning that we'll need, and a few additional pieces that you can change up here, and I'm about to get into that now. So the let me go ahead and break. I don't have an axe on me. I mean, I did go mine some trees. I just thought that I placed the axe when I was done. Anyways, so what we're going to do is we're going to take this piece out here, and this quarry is going to change locations. Fear not, it will not remain where I'm about to place it. But I mean, everything's got to have a starting point, right? So let's go on over here. It's starting to get nighttime, and basically what we're going to do is we're going to pull this steam that we're producing already from the boiler. We're just going to pull it right on outside. Let's go ahead and snooze. And we're going to use the same steam to power our quarry. So the quarry in this mod, unlike many of the other mods, it does not actually drill a giant hole in the earth, which is nice. Now, in order to build the multi-block, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to place down your base block, right? The basis for your machine. And I'm going to want to go get my wrench real quick. Make sure you have your modern industrialization wrench, which is just going to take 6 pieces of bronze configured into plates like such. And then what you're going to want to do is come back over to your machine, and you'll see that all the blocks and where they need to be placed kind of appears. If you scroll off, it goes away, scroll back on, there it is. So with that in mind, let's go ahead and place these in, and then I'll explain exactly why things need to be changed just a bit. So I believe it's like this pretty much all the way around, right? Check and make sure. Yes, and if you get a block wrong, like say I accidentally put the steel machine casing right here, it will show up red, and you can be like, oh, okay, obviously that's not the right one. Let's go back and put that machine casing in. Now I believe it also needs, yeah, these chains. Oh, wrong way. Okay, so we're gonna need these chains like such. And then how's the rest of it go? 3 up One, two, three, two, three. One at the top. Oh, shit. Really need to get a magnet so that way we quit dropping our stuff as much as what we are. And then that should be it. If you right click on it, it'll say status active, shape valid, and you can see basically how it looks. Now, the problem is, where are you supposed to put in the steam? Where are you supposed to get out the items? Where do you put in the drills? Where do you function with this multi-block at? And that's where the crafting guide here, the little multi-block materials, kind of does you dirty. Now, if you go and get the Modern Industrialization book and you want to read through all that, you'll come to realize that what you actually need are these hatches. You have bronze ones, you have steel ones, and if you read on the Steam Quarry, what it's going to tell you is right here, Steam only requires at least one steel hatch, any. So you can use a steel input hatch for items, for fluids, whatever tickles your fancy. We're going to use this steel item input hatch. So essentially what you can do is you can take one of these machine casings, break it, and then I have an extra one because I wasn't really thinking about it, but you really don't need to make an extra one. The 16 that they tell you for this, that is all you'll need because that's how many blocks go into this. And then you can simply take one of those machine casings, combine it with a hopper, and now you have your steel item input. This is where your drills will go into. So whenever we get our bronze drill to actually power this thing, or to, basically power it, then they'll go in right here. Sorry, I had a little bit of a burp hiccup thing there. Now, for your steam and all that, we're just going to use some bronze fluid input hatches. We might use some bronze item output hatches. We'll see. I just don't know how many items can come out of a bronze output hatch, so we'll have to see if it's enough. So we may have to end up using steel for that as well, or may want to. It may not have to, but we may want to, so that way we're getting maximum output. So a bronze fluid input is just going to require bronze casing, which, we've made a lot of these so far, so you should be getting pretty used to making them. We'll just need 8 of these. We'll need, do have some iron nuggets on me? We will need a little gear here in the middle. And once we combine this all together, we have the casing. Now, in order to make the fluid input hatch, we actually need a tank, so we'll need 8 more plates plus 1 block of glass. Let's go ahead and grab the glass from over here. I'll grab the whole stack of 16 there. So we may end up having to make another hammer here, which obviously I'm not a huge fan of. If that is the case, let's go ahead and get ourselves kind of prepped up for that. Let's throw those in there. Now, obviously, I could be doing some of this over in the compressor. That being said, it's quicker for me to do it this way. And yeah, that's basically the only reason why I'm doing it this way. So there's the bronze tank. We put that up there. We put the bronze casing. There's the fluid input hatch. So now if I was to go throw this bad boy right in line with the steam, and you'll see the green boxes are everywhere that you can put this input fluid input hatch, however you want to say it. And you'll know that it's working because whenever you place it in the machine, it will colorize itself to basically fit. So let's take our fluid, let's input it, and now we have everything ready to go minus the actual drill. And we're going to need some item outputs, right? Because where are we supposed to pull the items from if we don't have any outputs? So we're going to try this bronze item output first. If it's not going to produce us enough output slots, well, we'll change things up as need be. So we're going to need another 8 of these, and we'll need another hopper. So let's go ahead and toss this in there. Get this back out. Hopper we can make really quickly here. And we're going to need another gear. So let's do that real quick. Here. This. And I guess technically we could just make hoppers and use, you know what, I'm being so very silly right now. I'm like going through all this bronze. I'm like, oh, is it gonna work? Chance, quit being a doofus. How about that, bro? How about you just use your little noggin there and you realize that you have all the steel freaking casings that you need back here. Quit making bronze casings, bro. Okay, so I'm freaking out on myself because we're just wasting materials right now. So we have 8 potential outputs from the bronze drill. You'll see here: iron, coal, lignite, copper, osmium, redstone, gold, and tin. I gotta point my fan at me. It's getting a little roasty toasty in here. So if we have 8 output potentials, then I say we need at least 8 output slots. Does that make sense? Because I mean, you don't want to miss getting an item simply because you don't have enough outputs in order to receive said item. So let's take these 4 machine casings. We're gonna make 3 more hoppers because we already have the one down there, and then we're gonna turn these into item outputs. This is why I say that you just need the initial ones, because yeah, you don't need to do what I basically just did, which was go make these bronze machine casings and all this kind of stuff, because you already made it in steel. Technically, you could save yourself in steel if you just made, a couple in bronze. You could use 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in bronze. You still need at least 1 steel, so make sure you're doing that. But as you see, these steel item output hatches have double slots, so that will make the 8 that we're looking for. One thing I'm not sure about is, can we use regular item pipes to pull items out of these configurators, or I'm gonna have to use something a little bit different. Do I have enough? I do. Okay, so let's just do 1, 2, 3, 4. Whoops, too many. We can go and make a double chest and set it up out here to basically draw everything in. And then we're gonna go make the bronze drill head so we can actually get this baby powered and show you what I mean. So let's start out with these. We'll see if they work. If not, we'll swap over. But I'd like to use the easier pipe if at all possible. So those should all be pulling out of the outputs. Now, all we need is to throw a drill in here. Technically, we could use a copper drill. I don't really like the idea of that though, so we're not going to do that. Also, one thing that I've been kind of wondering about is villagers in the other mod pack could be turned into industrial or modern industrialization villagers, and I'm wondering, is that still the case here? So let's get some. I think we need redstone and a glass pane. And trader, can I do this? Glass pane, right? I just said it. I just didn't register it. Let's do one of those. Let's. I mean, we might as well just finish this little statue here. We'll get 1 villager, throw you in here, and if this works, fantastic. If not, well, whatever. It works. Whoa, that's so fantastic. Because the industrialist little guy here, yeah, you can buy steel hammers. So now you're like, okay, well, I'm good on hammers. You can buy copper, you can buy fire clay bricks. This is the combo I want, honestly, right there. Do I have iron? I do. Let's go ahead and trade some to you. And then let's lock this bad boy in with yeah, give me the steel hammer. Absolutely. Now we can buy rubber sheets. We can sell sulfur dust. It's really going to open up a lot once we get this guy. Oh, goodness, that really doesn't do a whole lot of anything on those, huh? What about sulfur? How much can we sell sulfur to you for? Is it a fair amount? Or are you just going to blackball me? Kind of a blackball situation, not going to lie, but, whatever gets it further down the road, I suppose. Okay, so that's a decent chunk there, but I just don't need that many steel hammers right now, really. So toss that. Have an extra piece of that. This can go away. That. Steel dust. I mean, you might as well go ahead and smelt it down, right? Machine casings. Don't need those 2 extra ones. Okay. Now our inventory is a bit less cluttered. Let's grab the bronze back out because we are going to need that. We'll grab the steel hammer from over here because that's just a nifty little addition that we now have capabilities of using. And let's find ourselves a bronze drill head, which is going to be made exactly like the copper drill head, just with bronze materials. And then, of course, we'll make the rest of it on the backside there. So let's make a couple of these bronze drills. Even though if we get our industrialists to master, sometimes they offer bronze drills as a thing that you can buy. So that'd be really nice if we can get that going. Then we can get the auto trader eventually rocking and rolling, pulling out from the iron farms, going straight into the auto trader, getting the emeralds, and then potentially going straight into the industrialist to get us infinite bronze drills, which would give us infinite copper and all that other stuff that we've aforementioned, right? So let's take a look here. Well, actually, let's go ahead and double up our stuff over in the hammer. I'm really considering moving those iron farms a bit further away, though, because they're so noisy. They're so very noisy. Okay, so for the bronze drill, actually what I should have done is saved it like that. And then what I should do is save it like that. So if I want to make 2 of these, right, we're going to need 4 gears. So let's go ahead and craft that. We're going to need some more iron nuggets. I think I put them all over here, yeah. So yeah, 4 gears. 1, 2, 3, 4. Fantastic. We're going to need some of these curved plates. So if we're trying to make 2, we're going to need 4 curved plates. That's done. We're going to need 6 of these. So 1 round does it for us. We're going to need 2 of the rods. I mean, hell, I might as well just go ahead and make 4, right? And then we'll need 2 plates, which, there we go. So that should be everything we need to craft 2 of these. Fantastic. And then in order to craft 2 batches of this, we'll need 4 iron. That is iron, right? It's not steel. That's iron gears. Okay, so we'll need 4 iron gears. Let's take the iron that we have over here. And then I'm sure we still have some... Oh, I'm out of iron. I'm completely bone dry on iron. That's okay, because I'm pretty sure one of these guys, yeah, just passed away. And that will be all that I need. So, like I said, iron farms, they work, but you may want a couple. All right, so let's make 2 batches of this. Now we have 8 bronze drills because you get 4 from each recipe craft there. And let's go throw these bad boys into the item input. And now you'll see it says active progress. It's telling you how much steam is being used. You can see the network transfer there. So we will have to be a little cautious now when we're using our machines on the other side, because we don't want to use 3 of them at a time. That'll end up pulling 10 EU per tick from our system, and we only have 8 available with that 1 steam boiler. That being said, with this doing what it's doing, I mean, we should be able to get some more materials a lot quicker. So let's just go ahead and see that hit 100. And is everything transferred into the chest? It is. So these item pipes actually work. Now it's only transferring 4 items every 20 seconds, 4 items every second, or every 20 ticks is every second. I mean, that's still better than these, because these transfer 16 items every 3 seconds is the network delay on that. So 4 items every 1 second, or 16 items every 3 seconds. Actually, I think you're transferring more items with the other one, but this is going quicker. So anyways, but there you go, folks. Look, just free materials. And we're just going to let this run. And like I said, the bronze drills, they have like a 4% chance or something like that of being used up. Yeah, consumption chance, 4%. So you could crap out and all 8 of these could just burn immediately, or they could last for literally your entire playthrough if you get that lucky. Obviously, the probabilities aren't in your odds for that one, but it's a possibility. And now with this, we can take our iron inside, and no longer are we just reliant on that little iron farm setup. No. Now we can go back to going for quadruple, quintuple, or sextuple. Is that 6 or is that 7? I figured 7 would be septuple, so sextuple for 6, right? I don't know, I may be wrong on that. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. We have the ability to 6x our ore. We have the ability to get infinite iron, to get a lot of infinite good resources from our villagers. Just make sure you get on into this rather early on. And I really want to level you up, bud, but man, you cost so much to level. But yeah, so basically just get your villagers going, and you'll be able to get enough iron for making the rest of this really easy. I will say probably the biggest detriment, the biggest holdback to going through this process wasn't even the iron, because we have infinite iron over there. That's just a matter of time, but rather is coal, because you need coal in order to fuel this through. I mean, technically you can use charcoal, but you're still gonna have to wait for the charcoal to smelt down. So just like, as you're working on one thing, try to work on multiple if you can. If not, hey, that's fine. You may be new to Minecraft, maybe new to modded, and you know, all this may be a bit overwhelming. If that's the case, don't worry on it. Go as slow as you need to. But here's a very excellent setup for making sure things rock and roll. Now, the rubber sheets that I just bought, we won't be using them really anytime soon. I don't plan on it, at least. But this is how you make the cables that actually transfer around your LV energy and basically all your energy from modern industrialization. Again, we're not going to be worrying about it. What? Can you only make... What? There should be... Okay, there are more cables. I just went to the next page. I was about to say there should be cables for transferring like a lot more power. So yeah, some of these can get kind of ridiculous. Like I said, this one can transfer 65,000 EU per tick, which if you're transferring that to FE is 4 times the amount. So it's like over 240,000 FE per tick that this cable can transfer, which, you know, should be good enough for you later on if you decide to go all the way down modern industrialization and yada yada yada. So, ladies and gentlemen, I do hope you have enjoyed this video. It may have turned into a bit of a longer one just because I wanted to actually get to this point where we're not only 6 timesing our ore output, but we're actually creating infinite ores at a rate that's, I mean, pretty substantial, right? We already have enough iron and coal. We could go back and make some more steel. If you wanted to, you can get another one of these steam quarries going right beside it and just keep increasing your output, so to speak. Because obviously you can just do this infinite. But I don't think you'll really need to once you kind of fuck off and you go do something, and then you come back and you're like, oh, okay, well now I have, you know, several stacks of gold and several stacks of iron sort of just waiting on me back at the base. Obviously, this is a little slow. You can upgrade this quarry eventually into a steam or an electric quarry. Sorry, from the steam quarry to an electric quarry. And then you can really start doing... See, I don't get this. You can put a digital miner in this thing, but it's going to use 128 EU per tick, which is a lot of energy, right? And then it's just going to give you some of these really... You're already getting them, right? So 128, and you can get these 5 items here, which sure, diamond and that kind of stuff. Or you can come over here to a steel drill, which we already have the ability to get steel, right? We just don't have the electric quarry. And you can get all of the same stuff, essentially. So it's like, do I really want to pay that much? Sure, you don't get fluorite, but fluorite's honestly not that hard to find. And you can get fluorite from titanium if you continue on down the path of modern industrialization. So I would never, ever put a digital miner into your quarry. Long story short, is what I'm trying to say. But likewise, you can use a gold drill and get some ancient debris and all kinds of stuff from these quarries that otherwise you might could spend quite a lot of time going and trying to find. So you can infinite diamonds, infinite netherite. It's really, really powerful. Now, that being said, some of the drills do end up getting a little more complicated as far as the recipes go, right? But as those of you that followed us in the last series saw, this is just a matter of taking each component and taking it as an individual and working with it, right? So don't worry, don't fret too much about trying to get into an electric quarry and do all this and that. For right now, just enjoy the fact that you got an infinite gold, infinite iron, coal, lignite coal, redstone. Like, you have infinite of all of these base materials without ever having to go mining. If you want to go mining, sure, cool, go for it. But save your mining time for trying to find diamonds, trying to find silver or platinum, or, you know, these more exotic, more expensive sort of materials. So, with all of that being said and out of the way, ladies and gentlemen, I do hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you learned anything, if you happen to have came away with something from this episode, please be sure to leave a like down below, comment in the comment sections what exactly, you know, you came out with from this episode. And of course, share this out with friends, family, strangers down the streets. It won't bother me as long as you're enjoying yourselves and they do as well. All that being said, as per the usual, I do hope you all stay safe, stay awesome, and stay crafted. Until next time, you beautiful, beautiful people. Peace out.